From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang, and here are the news. On the top story, Philippine First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos has joined the Philippine Coast Guard or PCG Auxiliary Executive Squadron with the rank of Auxiliary Vice Admiral. During a ceremony on board the BRP Gabriela Silang in Port Area, Manila on Tuesday, Department of Transportation or DOTR Secretary Jaime Bautista and PCG Commandant Admiral Ronnie Hill Gavan led the donning and oath-taking ceremony for the First Lady. Gavan said the PCG Auxiliary supports the PCG in the performance of its mandates, centered on selfless service and compassion for Filipinos. The First Lady, he said, would help strengthen the PCG Auxiliary as her presence would inspire other members. Commandant Gavan said the First Lady has participated in the rehabilitation of the Pasig River, which is in tune with the PCG's efforts to preserve the country's rivers and seas. Like the PCG, Gavan said the First Lady embodies the highest ideals of service, dedication, and patriotism, and does so with unmatched grace and sophistication. During the event, Araneta Marcos thanked the PCG for its efforts in ensuring maritime safety and maritime security, as well as upholding the country's sovereignty in the West Philippine Sea.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine House Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez on Tuesday expressed confidence that the House of Representatives has set a grand stage for another historic State of the Nation address, or SONA, by Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Romualdez said preparations for President Marcos's third SONA on July 22nd have been successful, with a final interagency meeting among the Office of the President, both houses of Congress, and other agencies held on Monday. The House Speaker said that while the SONA will largely reflect on the successes of the Marcos administration, it will also outline the President's plans for the coming years, including the role of Congress in bringing government programs to fruition for the Filipino people. House Secretary General Reginald Velasco echoed the Speaker's statements and declared the readiness of the House of Representatives to receive President Marcos, the senators led by Senate President Francis Escudero, cabinet members, and other esteemed guests and dignitaries. He said preparations include traffic rerouting plans and a timely distribution of official SONA invitations to former leaders, government officials, major stakeholders, and other important guests, including members of the diplomatic community. Detailed medical protocols have also been established to handle any health emergencies, with medical teams and facilities on standby to ensure the well-being of participants. During Monday's final interagency meeting, the arrival scenario and security measures were discussed, ensuring a comprehensive plan is in place to deploy law enforcement personnel to safeguard all attendees and maintain order. House Sergeant at Arms, retired Police Major General Napoleon Taas, confirmed that detailed security arrangements have been made to ensure a peaceful and orderly event involving multiple security agencies. A walkthrough of the route President Marcos during the SONA next week was also undertaken Monday, with Velasco, Taas, and House Deputy Secretary General Grace Andres leading the party.
Dateline Malacañang.
Albay Representative Joey Salceda is expecting Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s third State of the Nation address or SONA on July 22nd to be filled and significant. According to the House Tax Chief, despite challenges, the Marcos administration was able to temper inflation within the government's target range, decrease unemployment rate, and maintain sound economic growth. Besides this, the agreement sealed by the Philippines, like India, supplying rice despite export pressures. In other words, Salceda said the president can resolutely say that things are getting and are about to get better. The Albay Solon is also hopeful that the chief executive will mention plans and projects for the Maharlika Investment Fund and public-private partnership, as well as how to address hunger. Salceda said they are also looking forward to President Marcos's mentioning projects in the Bicol region like the South Luzon Expressway or SLEX extension and the Philippine National Railway or PNR South Long Haul going to the city of Matnog in Sorsogon Province.
Dateline Malacañang.
Kabayan Party List Representative Ron Salo encouraged Filipinos to continue supporting Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. amid his upcoming third State of the Nation address or SONA on July 22nd. According to Salo, the President's SONA will bring new hope for Filipinos and the triumphs of a new Philippines. The lawmakers said the administration's successful steps to bring the government services to the public shows compassion to its citizens. Among what the congressman expects to be part of the chief executive SONA is the administration's initiative on creating more jobs for Filipinos. Salo also expects President Marcos to mention the implementation of the Salt Industry Development Act, which seeks to revitalize and modernize the salt industry, and the creation of the Department of Fisheries, which aims to develop the country's aquatic resources, as well as a mention on the government's efforts in ensuring universal and accessible quality education for all. SONA 3, Salo said, will also serve as a platform to enumerate the changes or amendments to policies and laws for the welfare of Filipinos. Salo also hopes the president will boost his administration's thrust in promoting and protecting the rights of overseas Filipino workers or OFWs. Because of this, the Salon is hoping the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers will be signed into law.
Dateline Malacañang.
The National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA board, chaired by Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., recently approved key changes to the Laguna Lakeshore Road Network or LLRN project and also set terms for the Bohol and Laguindingan airports. In a statement, the NEDA said the approval was made during the board's meeting last July 15th. During the meeting, the board approved modifications to the Phase 1 scope of the LLRN project, which now includes the development of connecting roads and interchanges in various locations. These locations encompass Barangay Tunasan in Muntinlupa City, as well as San Pedro Binyan and Cabuyao in Laguna. Initially approved in the year 2021, the project entails the construction of a 37.5-kilometer primary road and a 12-kilometer viaduct from Lower Bikutan Taguig to Tunasan Muntinlupa. It also includes the 25.5-kilometer shoreline viaduct and embankment from Tunasan Muntinlupa to Calamba, Laguna, slated to be completed in 2027. The project is expected to stimulate economic activity in the National Capital Region Calabarzon, and Central Luzon. The second phase of the LLRN project, meanwhile, which will traverse the eastern portion of Laguna Lake from Binangonan, Rizal, to Calamba, Laguna, is currently under a feasibility study and is slated for completion by December 2024. The project will have an approximate mainline total length of 71.5 kilometers. NEDA Secretary Arsenio Balisacan said the NEDA board recognizes the significant potential of this project in reducing transportation constraints on existing road networks, promoting economic development in the region, and providing safer, more convenient, and faster travel for road users coming from the north and south to various tourist and business destinations in Laguna and nearby provinces. Aside from the LLRN project, the NEDA board also approved the negotiated parameters, terms and conditions or PTCs for the Bohol-Panglao International Airport project and changes to the NEDA board approved negotiated PTCs for the Laguindingan International Airport project. The approved PTCs for the upgrade of the Bohol-Panglao International Airport seek to resolve ambiguities in compliance with the recently enacted Public-Private Partnership or PPP Code, which came into effect after the airport project was approved. With a total cost of 4.5 billion Philippine peso, the expansion project aims to increase the maximum number of passengers from 2 million to at least 2.5 million per year at the project start and to at least 3.9 million by the end of the project. The approved changes to the Laguindingan Airport, meanwhile, include guidelines for the adjustment of the passenger service charge, which will be contingent upon achieving the set key performance indicators and minimum performance standards and specifications for operation and maintenance during the concession period. With a total of 12.75 billion Philippine peso, the project will upgrade the existing facilities and also include capacity augmentation, installation of required equipment, enhancement of airside facilities and comprehensive operations and maintenance services. The NEDA said the board also approved an additional $30 million loan to support the Project Development and Monitoring Facility or PDMF. The PDMF provides a project preparation facility for implementing agencies to undertake pre-investment activities such as developing feasibility studies for potential PPP projects and engaging high-quality transaction advisors. The facility will provide support throughout the preparation, development, approval, procurement, coordination, and monitoring of various PPP projects.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Department of Migrant Workers or DMW has decided to take its electronic systems offline following a ransomware attack to protect data of overseas Filipino workers or OFWs around the globe. In an advisory, the DMW said it activated other systems and processes to ensure continuous delivery of services to OFWs. The DMW said issuance of the electronic or online systems overseas employment certificates or OEC and OFW passes, as well as the OFW information sheets and other online services are temporarily unavailable while efforts to restore the online systems are ongoing. It said the OFWs who need to secure the the OECs and OFW pass may proceed to the DMW National Office, regional offices and extensions, one-stop shops, and migrant workers assistance centers to manually process them. However, the OFWs securing their information sheets need not go to any DMW office. Instead, they may send their request for information sheets by sending an email to infosheet@dmw.gov.ph or send a direct message to the DMW's Facebook page Messenger. Upon receipt of their request, the DMW will send QR-coded information sheets directly to the requesting worker. The DMW has coordinated with the Bureau of Immigration or BI and the airport authorities to facilitate the smooth departure of OFWs. The DMW apologized to the OFWs and members of their families for the inconvenience, as they assure that all efforts are being exerted to continue serving OFWs while instituting stronger measures to protect their information.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Department of Transportation or DOTR lauded the adoption of a United Nations Human Rights Council or UNHRC resolution that seeks to protect and promote the human rights of seafarers around the world. The resolution will allow the Philippine government to advance the rights and interests of Filipino seafarers who make up over a quarter of the roughly 2 million seafarers globally, the DOTR said in a statement. The resolution calls on states representatives of ship owners and seafarers to enhance the enforcement of the Maritime Labor Convention to ensure safe and decent living and working conditions for all seafarers. This include respecting the rights of seafarers to decide whether to sail in high-risk areas and to eliminate all forms of forced or compulsory labor in the shipping industry. The initiative, it said, was made possible through the efforts of the Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA and the Philippine Mission in Geneva. On Friday, Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo said the adoption of the UNHRC resolution titled Promoting and Protecting the Enjoyment of Human Rights by Seafarers acknowledges that seafarers brave challenging conditions at sea that pose risks to their human rights, safety, and well-being. The resolution, Manalo said, affirms that safe and decent living and working conditions at sea are a human rights imperative.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Department of Agriculture or DA assured that it is continuing talks with the poultry sector amid spiking market prices. This came after the price per kilogram of chicken in Metro Manila hit as high as 250 pesos with the lowest at 190 pesos according to the DA Bantay Presyo. In an ambush interview, DA Undersecretary Deo Gracias Victor Savellano pledged to provide interventions to raisers affected by various challenges in the country such as the high cost of production, importation of feed additives, and the effects of avian influenza, which consequently contributed to the current supply situation. From October 2023 to April 2024, the average farm gate prices of chicken have dropped to a low range of 91.47 pesos per kilogram to 101.32 pesos per kilogram according to the United Broiler Raisers Association or UBRA. He, however, said that the 250 pesos per kilogram level may not last long and the public may access cheaper chicken or other meat options in the supermarkets. UBRA President Jose Gerardo Feliciano, meanwhile, said the 250 pesos per kilogram level is not reasonable, considering a 70 pesos to 75 pesos average markup from the farm gate price. He said, assuming that the farm gate price per kilogram is 150 pesos, then the market retail price would be 220 pesos to 230 pesos. To date, the average farm gate price per kilogram of chicken is set at 137 pesos, higher than June's 125 pesos and 57 centavos and 118 pesos and 75 centavos for the same month in 2023. He also expressed hope that retail prices would be tame by the end of August as raisers may increase production.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine National Kidney and Transplant Institute, or NKTI, said it is conducting its own investigation on alleged cases of organ trafficking. The NKTI reacted to the National Bureau of Investigation's arrest in Bulacan of 3 persons who allegedly buy and sell human organs, including kidneys. One of the suspects who remained at large is an NKTI nurse and the alleged gang leader. It also warned the public against entering into transactions outside a hospital with groups, organizations, and private individuals claiming to be from the NKTI. Being the National Specialty Center for Renal Health and Organ Transplantation, the NKTI emphasized that it honors legitimate transactions only regarding living organ donation, transplantation, and deceased organ donation.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Bureau of the Treasury, or BTR, said a 10-year Treasury bond, or T-bonds, reissuance saw strong demand, prompting the auction committee to fully award the security. With a remaining term of 9 years and 6 months, the T-bond fetched an average rate of 6.212%, lower than both its previous reissuance and the prevailing secondary market rate. The comparative PHP Bloomberg valuation service was at 6.268%. The auction was 3.2 times oversubscribed, with total tenders amounting to 95.6 billion Philippine peso relative to the 30 billion Philippine peso offering.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI's Task Force Kalasag, has confiscated a total of 89.76 million Philippine peso worth of uncertified and non-compliant products and vape units as of July 15. In a press conference in Makati City, Fair Trade Enforcement Bureau, or FTEB Director Philip Sawali said 61.87 million pesos worth of the seized products were essential consumer goods, and some 27.88 million pesos were vape units. Sawali said among the recent raid operations of the task force were on June 26 in Valenzuela, with total confiscated goods valued at 7.75 million pesos. On July 3 in Plaridel, Bulacan, with a whole amounting to 9.35 million pesos, and on July 15 in Tanza, Cavite, amounting to 8.28 million pesos. In a separate statement, DTI said some 9.7 million pesos worth of uncertified goods were also seized from 62 establishments in Camarines Norte and Camarines Sur from June 24 to 28. The FTEB official said the DTI recommended for the closure of the raided warehouses. The local government units of Tanza and Valenzuela have already implemented the shutdown of the facilities, while FTEB is still awaiting for the closure of the Plaridel warehouse. Among the confiscated products under technical regulations were ceramic tiles, sanitary wares, plywood, lead-acid batteries, appliances, television sets, tires for automotive vehicles, electrical lighting and wiring devices, dry chemical portable fire extinguisher, pipe for portable water supplies, lighter monoblock chairs, helmet and visors, motor vehicle brake fluid, inner tubes for tires, steel wires and angle bars, deformed steel bars, medical grade oxygen, safety belts, and unplasticized polyvinyl chloride, or UPVC, rigid electrical conduit. He added, these uncertified products are being sold in electronic commerce or e-commerce platforms. DTI Secretary Alfredo Pascual also urged Filipinos to become more vigilant and to carefully check proper markings when buying essential consumer products. For instance, a product label that is written in foreign language, not in English or Filipino, is a clear sign that the product is uncertified or did not comply with the law. He added the government is also losing revenue collection from these imported products that did not go through the proper process. The trade chief said a task force Kalasag will continue its crackdown on uncertified products nationwide as the group is in close coordination with the DTI's regional and provincial offices and local police authorities to conduct inspection and raid operations. DTI Assistant Secretary Agaton Chodoro Uvero said these uncertified and untested products pose danger and hazards to Filipino consumers. Overo encouraged everyone to verify the presence of the PS mark and ICC stickers to ensure that what they are buying has been proven safe and of quality.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA said the Philippines and China's communication mechanism on the South China Sea would soon extend to the two states' presidential representatives and top diplomats. The DFA confirmed that the recently signed arrangement on improving Philippine-China maritime communication mechanisms would provide various channels for communication between the two nations, specifically on maritime issues. These avenues include one, through the representatives to be designated by the Philippine and Chinese presidents. Another channel is between the DFA and the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, including at the Secretary, Foreign Minister, and Undersecretary Vice Foreign Minister levels or through their designated representatives. Once the corresponding memorandum of understanding between the two foreign affairs is concluded, the two states will activate a communication mechanism between the Philippine Coast Guard and the Chinese Coast Guard or CCG. The arrangement was signed last July 2 at the 9th Philippine-China Bilateral Consultation Mechanism meeting, a key dialogue between the two states days following the violent June 17 incident in the Ayungin Shoal involving the CCG. This improved line of communication builds on the mechanism that the Philippines and China created during the 2023 bilateral meeting between Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and President Xi Jinping. The previous direct communication mechanism extended to the DFA's Maritime and Ocean Affairs Office and the Chinese MOFA's Department of Boundary and Ocean Affairs and was to prevent untoward incidents in the West Philippine Sea.
Dateline Malacañang.
The effects of the Bilateral Consultation Mechanism or BCM meeting between the Philippines and China have yet to be seen as far as easing tensions in the West Philippine Sea or WPS is concerned, a ranking Philippine Navy or PN official said on Tuesday. PN spokesperson for the WPS Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad in a press briefing at the Villamor Air Base in Pasay City said they are monitoring continuously the number of ships in the WPS. Based on the PN's monitoring from July 9 to 15, the number of Chinese vessels spotted in WPS features include 9 China Coast Guard vessels, 1 People's Liberation Army Navy ship, and 94 maritime militia vessels. Trinidad also maintained that Manila's actions are always meant to de-escalate tension in the WPS even without the BCM. Asked whether there are changes in China's behavior due to the BCM, he said this will be known during Manila's next RORE mission. Manila's last RORE to BRP Sierra Madre LS-57 was held on June 17, which was disrupted by the China Coast Guard and Maritime Militia. A sailor of the PN lost his right thumb, while Chinese troops damaged the Philippines' 2 rigid hull inflatable boats and looted assorted gear, equipment, supplies, and even firearms. During the 9th meeting of the BCM on the South China Sea or BCM in Manila on July 2, Manila and Beijing agreed to continue discussions to find a mutually acceptable resolution to WPS issues.
Dateline Malacañang.
The strong military ties between the Philippines and the United States got a further boost following the visit of U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chair General Charles Brown Jr. on Tuesday. Brown met with the Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP officials led by Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr. at the military headquarters in Camp Aguinaldo, Quezon City. AFP Public Affairs Office Chief Colonel Ceres Trinidad in a statement said, the meeting underscored their commitment to the Philippine-United States long-standing military alliance. Discussions focused on enhancing bilateral defense cooperation, strengthening joint military exercises, and addressing regional security challenges. The officials discussed future initiatives to bolster defense relations and foster greater interoperability. The AFP and U.S. Armed Forces also continue to engage in various joint activities including training exercises, humanitarian assistance, and disaster response operations, further solidifying their partnership and readiness to respond to contingencies.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, for Dateline Malacañang, the Philippine Coast Guard, RPCG, conducted boarding exercises as part of the Vessel Board Search and Seizure or VBSS course in Port Area, Manila. In a statement, Course Director Lieutenant Commander Mark Jefferson Mangoyob said the course includes a simulation and a series of lectures on conducting boarding operations on vessels suspected of illegal activities. Boarding vessels, he said, are also conducted by PCG personnel to ensure a ship's compliance with maritime regulations. From June 24 to June 29, the PCG also joined the Regional Marine Pollution Exercise or MARPOLEX 2024, along with the Coast Guards of Indonesia and Japan. During the event, the three Coast Guards trained in executing swift emergency responses, focusing on search and rescue, firefighting, oil spill recovery, equipment retrieval, and damage assessment.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that is all for today's Dateline Malacañang for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This has been Bea Gaza.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila. Dateline Malacañang.